The Road to Strength podcast is now brought to you by Rob Levine, the heavy hitter. We've been really happy to have him jump on as a sponsor. I personally used them this past year. My wife was in a car accident, and they were able to help us along every step of the way through getting properly compensated, making sure we weren't getting taken advantage of by the car insurance companies, and helping through with medical payments. So if you've been in a car accident, it's definitely worthwhile. Just pick up the phone and see how they can help. What's going on, guys? Dr. Matt here, host of the Road to Strength podcast. We got another special guest on today, Christine Middleton. What's going on?
Not too much. How are you?
Doing good. So we're here at Ocean State CrossFit. And we are in the Rhode Island Body Restoration room in the back. Brand new business.
Yes.
In the back room here. It's nice and toasty. I almost wish I got here a little bit earlier so I could get in the sauna and jump in the ice bath a little bit.
This has been a godsend of a room. I love it so much.
It looks really cool. That's awesome. So I definitely want to ask you more about that. But I'm going to just give you a brief intro about kind of who you are, and then we'll get into rapid fire questions, and then kind of get into a little bit of how you got into CrossFit, some of the competitions you've done in the past, and then your history also with athletic training. And
awesome.
We'll see where it goes.
All right.
All right. So just so you're a coach over here at Ocean State, co-owner of Rhode Island Body Restoration, which is also at Ocean State.
Correct.
You went to the CrossFit Games 3 times.
Correct.
All 3 on team.
Yep.
And got a bronze medal at USAW Nationals.
Mm-hmm.
Awesome. So I have Snatch. I got some of your lifts down, and tell me if I'm accurate here. So we got I don't know if it's a competition or just gym numbers, but we got Snatch at 92 kilograms.
That's probably competition.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah.
Usually we don't record the gym numbers in kilograms,
no,
unless
we don't.
we're like in a barbell gym.
Yeah,
no. So which is 202 pounds. I did the math on that.
Yep.
Clean and jerk 118 kilograms.
Yeah, that sounds like my last competition.
Yeah.
Yep.
Which is 260.1 pounds. And then for your total combined, 210 kilograms, 463 pounds. Some pretty solid numbers.
Decent.
Yeah.
They're decent.
What about in the gym? Like the gym numbers much different than that?
Yeah.
Yeah. What's the Snatch?
My all-time is 220.
Hell yeah.
But typically I'm like consistent with 215, 210.
When did you hit 220?
Oh, that was like right after COVID. We
really?
Just hit like straight up strength cycle.
Yeah.
That was all we did.
Is it because you didn't want to do much cardio because your lungs were dying, or?
It just like refocused because competitions for CrossFit were kind of on pause, and they were treating individuals differently than teams. So it was like,
yeah, I remember that. Yep.
I remember actually did nationals here during COVID.
That's right, when they did it virtually. Yes.
Yeah.
Yep.
So that was here. That was fun.
That's cool.
So we kind of like leading into that wanted to prep as much as possible and only focus on that. So we did some working out. It wasn't too intense, but it was really just coming in and lifting for like 2 hours.
That's fun.
4 or 5 times a week. Yeah.
Very little cardio.
Very little cardio.
That's fun.
Yeah. There was some cardio.
Yeah, there we go.
There was some cardio.
How about clean and jerk? So in that competition, you hit 260. How about in the gym?
Normally, I mean, I'd say I can pretty comfortably hit 275, 285.
Nice.
For the clean and jerk, I should say 275. 285 is my all-time clean and jerk. But my clean is 300, so that's not the hard part. It's the jerk for me.
Yeah, getting it overhead.
Yeah.
Yep. Very cool. I also, just browsing your Instagram, I saw you're a member of the Mind Over Matter team, the competition team, or is that a...
So that's like my management group.
Very cool.
Yeah.
And then just some brief accolades. So, well, maybe not. Brief is the wrong word. Some quick accolades. You're a licensed athletic trainer.
Correct.
Which is cool. I want to get into that. CrossFit Level 2, and then USAW Level 1.
Yes.
You offer some programming as well.
Yep.
And people can find you on Instagram at ZEOLI. What does ZEOLI mean?
Oh, what do you think it means?
I don't know. Is it like I feel like it's Greek. It sounds like Greek or like Roman.
It's Italian.
It's Italian. Okay.
Yeah. Everybody asks me that. That's like the first question I get from most people.
Well, when I was doing the brief research for this, the podcast that you did with Move Fast Lift Heavy, they called you ZEOLI. They called you ZEOLI.
Yeah, everybody calls me ZEOLI. And that's also how I can like determine if I've met someone in person or not.
Yeah.
Because they don't know my real name.
Right.
So, or if they like So, ZEOLI is my middle name.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
That's I've never heard that before.
Yeah.
That's a very cool middle name.
My mother's maiden name.
I'm guessing you're very Italian.
I'm 50%.
All right.
Yeah.
Your mom is 100%.
Yes, she is.
Yes.
Yes, she is.
Very cool.
Yeah, because Middleton is Scottish.
Right.
So, now I'm a Zanosco. Very Polish.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
Okay. Mixed breed.
Yes. A lot of Z's in there now.
Yes. All right.
Yeah.
All right. So we'll get into some of the rapid fire questions next. And I always say this. These are most interesting for me, but I hope the listeners get something out of them too. So first one we got is favorite coffee shop.
Oh, gosh. So I generally don't go out to get coffee. If I have to, I always go to Felicia's.
Nice. That was actually, so I've done a decent amount of episodes by now, and no one said Felicia's until just recently. So
really?
This 2 scores.
It is
2 points for Felicia's.
Right next to my house.
Gotcha, yeah.
The only problem is they're busy, way too busy all the time.
Really?
Yeah, it's actually frustrating. I'll like drive up, like, all right, I'm getting ready my latte and I'm ready for it, and then I see the line and I'm like,
time for dunks.
Yeah, no, never, never.
No?
I worked at Dunkin' Donuts for 5 years, and I will never drink their coffee. I have the beans, the roast in my hair still.
Just permanently?
Permanently. It's disgusting.
That's tough.
Yeah.
It's New England pride, but I get you. It's
I loved it. I loved it growing up, and it has its own flair. But working in that stench has ruined it for me. I can't even. I'll go in there and I'll leave, and I'll be like,
she had PTSD.
Oh no, it's in my hair again.
I can picture that smell right now.
It's bad. It's really bad. But
next question could be the same answer, but favorite go-to breakfast spot.
Breakfast spot,
or go-to breakfast that you make at home.
Okay,
like you're kind of like whatever you like to.
So Diamond in the Rough, I would say it's not Diamond in the Rough. It's kind of newer, so people don't really know about it. I think the Lighthouse Cafe has really good breakfast sandwiches.
Is it in Cranston?
No, it is in it's in North Kingstown.
Ooh,
yeah. So kind of on the other end of Felicia's, the same on Post Road.
Yeah,
and they have good
breakfast sandwiches?
I don't want to be rude. I don't like their coffee that much, but I do really like their sandwiches, the breakfast sandwich.
If you can find a good bacon, egg, and cheese somewhere, like that place is golden. So.
Sausage, egg, and cheese.
Yeah.
It's like real egg, which is why it's so good.
Yep.
And the bagels are phenomenal.
There you go.
The other one I would say is, do you know Coffee Connection?
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
So it's a little bit farther away, which is why I tend not to go there, but sometimes it's really worth it.
Definitely.
I love it.
I'm in North Providence, so they're right. I think there's a few locations for them, but there's one right near me.
The one off 1A in near Bonnet. That's the one I always go to. Yeah.
Okay, cool.
Yeah.
Next question we get, favorite recent book. Now I know some people are not huge book readers, so if you want to sub in for the podcast question, you can. Nice. Are you reading that right now?
Yeah, I am attempting.
It looks like a thick book.
It is. It's very thick. I was listening to the Joe Rogan podcast, and Dr. Gabor came up on there, and he, everything he said just resonated with me so much. I just had to get his book.
Yeah,
it is so much to digest.
Sure.
I've had this for a while, and I keep going into it, and I'm terrible at reading, so I shouldn't say that. I have a hard time. I'm not one of those people that will sit down and read 1,000 pages.
Yeah,
I'm here and there. So same. I'll read, and then I'll have to go back because I'm like, wait. I need to digest this,
same.
And I'm 2 steps forward, 1 step back with a book. But this has so much information in it. It's just mini stories about people's experiences. Really, really good. I can't wait to see how it progresses.
Totally.
But yeah, that's where I'm at right now.
So the myth of normal, what's the general, is it more health and medical stuff?
Yeah.
Or, yeah, okay.
It's kind of a tie of everything. So the premise is your experiences in life and how they impact your overall health. Okay. So one of the main things he's driving home at in the very beginning is traumas, right?
Okay.
So traumas in young women, we'll say, who might get molested by somebody they know when they're really, really young, and how that alters their DNA, and how that gives them chronic illnesses. You'll see a direct correlation, and that's what all his research and his son's research and other doctors have researched.
Interesting.
The direct correlation between diabetes and adolescent
trauma.
Trauma,
yeah,
right?
Yeah.
Or what's the other one? there's a big one of psoriasis of the liver and like different things like that. So it's just so much to take in.
That's really cool. I'll have to check that out. I'm a big Audible guy, so I might have to plug that through Audible. But if it's on there,
it probably is better that way. It's not hard to read. The words are not hard. It's the concepts that you have to go back, because everything that you are looking at, you're like, wait, that applies to me. Wait, that applies to someone that I know. And then you're thinking about how you can, I don't know, tell somebody about it. That's like one of the things that drew me to this was you have those experiences, especially as a clinician or as a personal trainer. You interact with people that have these terrible traumatic experiences, and you don't know it until you start working with them. It's like not session 1, it's not session 2, but session 3, you're like, wait, we're not actually doing any exercise today. We're just talking about what happened 5-10 years ago.
Totally. Yeah.
So that's why I wanted to get into that.
There's a kind of going off on a tangent. There's a few interesting connections too. I'm sure you've seen as well, but in the athletic training world, but like in the PT world, I talk to massage therapists, same thing. Like when you start working on some of the physical things, like some of those emotional traumas, like will start to show themselves, and whether they're talking about it, whether emotions coming over them, like really interesting things that like aren't really well understood, but there are some like connections to that.
Oh yeah. Absolutely. And I think I wish that as an athletic trainer, we were able to touch on that more.
Sure.
I'm sure you see it at much higher, prevalence than we do, but it does get uncovered a little bit. And that's, we want to know more information on how to help somebody with that, because it's like you could hit a wall with somebody very early on, and like, how do we get past this? If I know there's something deep rooted in there, but we know how to communicate about it.
Sure.
So that's kind of,
That's cool. That's a great answer. I like that a lot.
Thanks.
Transitioning, we'll go next question here. So you mentioned Joe Rogan already, but favorite recent podcast?
Oh, Kill Tony.
I never heard of it.
Are you kidding?
I never heard of it.
Oh my God. Okay, so you like comedy?
Yeah.
You like people being made fun of publicly?
Yeah, of course.
That's what Kill Tony is. It is basically a 2-hour-long podcast. It's a live podcast.
Okay.
And they do it in Joe Rogan's now comedy club. So they moved to the mothership, and they were somewhere else before that, I forget. But basically it's like Tony and his buddy, and they have a band, and they bring on, they have a bucket pull, they pull a comic or a random person from the crowd, they come up and do a minute of comedy. And they either completely roast them or they make the person famous, basically.
Wow.
It's kind of like American Idol of comedy.
Of comedy. That's cool. It's Tony Hinchcliffe. I've seen him on Joe Rogan before. Yeah. Gotcha. Okay, that makes sense.
It's so fun. Like if you are tired of the books or something else, and you need like a mental break, a light. It is rough because like how like podcasting is. The audio is like all over the place. Totally. But it's totally worth it. It sounds like a hot mess sometimes, but it's like, okay, no, this is funny.
I gotta dip into that a little more, because I've definitely been like into like the weeds of like nuts and bolts of like fitness, like medical stuff, but I definitely need. I have a friend who really likes the podcast Stiff Socks. Have you heard of that one?
No.
I forget who the comic is. It's a really well known comic, but whenever I'm with him, like we'll go like skiing or whatever, like he'll put that on and we always just die laughing.
Oh, boy.
The comedy podcasts I think are underrated.
Yeah,
I think people tap into that enough.
I always take like requests for podcasts, or not requests, recommendations. Yeah. And that's how I start listening to new ones. So like that was recommended to me, and I was like, okay, I'm on this. Yeah. We're so many episodes deep now, and he's been doing it on YouTube for years. I think they're 10 years in now.
Wow.
So a lot of content to get into.
All right, I'm adding that to my listen to list.
Oh yeah.
All right, so we'll go next question here. Somewhere that you've traveled recently. So could be for fun, could be just work related, competition related, just in general.
Okay. I'd say the most, it's usually work related, competition related. Yeah. The most recent was I went to Mass. I don't even remember where it was, but I did a strongman competition there.
I saw that.
Yeah.
You were with Steve Tripp and some of the guys at the Top Strength. Yeah. Yeah. That's badass. I don't know where it was. Mass Strength? Does that sound? Was that right?
Yeah.
Something like that?
I think so. It was like it's a brand new gym, and it's really nice.
Yeah, someone was talking about how like cool that is. Huge, right? Huge open space. Like that's. I see gyms like that. I'm like, damn, how do they afford to do this from the start?
I don't know.
Some sort of investors, but that's really cool.
Like serious investors.
Yeah.
Because the way they had it, everything was brand new. Like everything had the same like color scheme. It was like the black with the green,
Yeah.
and it was
Yeah.
sick.
That's a cool gym.
Yeah.
Was that your first strongman comp?
Oh yeah.
How'd it go?
Oh, I did really well.
Hell yeah, awesome.
We came in second, I think.
Sweet. Oh, it was
Yeah.
a team.
Yeah, it was
Yeah.
it was team. So it was like how many? We had like 6 or 7 people on a team, and
Cool.
you're like highlighted by your strengths. So whatever you're good at. I did the log because it's similar to the clean and jerk.
Cool.
So log press.
Overhead.
Well,
Cool.
I just clean and jerked it. Like
Yeah.
whatever. I think what did I hit? 195. I think I hit on it.
Hell yeah.
Which that was the most I had ever hit prior was 175, I think, and that was a struggle bus.
Yeah.
But,
that's tough on the log.
It is. It puts you in such a compromising position. Like
Like you
the
have to
lean
super
back
arch.
and then
Yep.
like squeeze your butt to to save
Yeah.
your back from breaking.
Yes.
And then
Yeah.
you have to dip straight down into your lower back. And I'm like, this is like everything I was taught not to do.
Right. Well, it brings you back to almost like when they were doing Olympic lifting before they had the rule change of the dip.
Yeah.
When people did just the clean and they weren't allowed to dip and drive, they had to clean it and then literally just press it. And people were like basically standing and bench pressing it from overhead to get
Yeah,
it. Like back in the 80s or whatever, whenever that was.
Right. It was fun. And then I think I did the sandbag carry for max distance. So it was a 176 bag max distance, 50-foot increments. And then there was also like a whole team where we had to pick up a certain weight bag in order to like win the event or get points for the event.
Yeah.
And so I had the 176 again. And it was just like pick up and hold.
Oh, God.
So I was the first one to pick up.
Yeah.
So I had to wait for 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 other people to pick up their bags.
Yeah.
And I was just, it was like 3 minutes of just holding. I didn't think it was going to be hard. It
Yeah. The
was
sandbag
destroyed.
stuff, like I did the Southie competition this year.
Yeah.
And they had one of their workouts with sandbags, and they just like, they start like, oh, this won't be too bad. But if it's anything long duration, you're like, holy shit, I'm going to kill myself. This sucks.
I'd never run that fast with a bag.
Yeah.
I've never had to hold one just like statically for that long. I was like, oh, I'm fine. And
such
my
a mental
core was
game.
like, you're not okay. You're going this way
You're
now.
going down.
Yeah. I was like, what's happening to my body? So
Yeah,
good.
that's tough. That's a mental game too with a sandbag because you just want to drop it so bad.
Yeah. I wanted to switch sides. That's what
Fair.
you're like. One thing you can do in CrossFit is like, let me just quick
Yeah.
go to the other side.
And then not allowed.
If you came off your shoulder,
You're done.
everyone was down.
Oh, you want to let the team down. That's tough too. That's like
Yeah.
kind of that partner WOD mentality. Like don't let my partners down.
Yeah.
Next question we got current favorite gym CrossFit shoe sneaker.
Oh, my Go Rucks. I do really
Okay.
like. Yeah. So I've always been like
You're on trend with those.
I was there before.
Nice,
I was
all
there
right.
before. You can see they're all beat up and shit.
Hey.
So I was always like avid nano.
Yeah.
I love my nanos.
Yep.
I always hated Nikes. They're so uncomfortable and
They do
terrible.
feel kind of like cardboard. The Nikes, the Metcons.
For running, you can't go anywhere in
Yeah.
them. And then, gosh, Nobles.
Not a fan.
But terrible for your feet. I tell all my clients, they're like, my knees hurt. And I'm like,
Get rid of those shoes.
I'll tell them, get rid of your shoes, change to anything else.
Yeah,
And they're
yeah.
like, wow, my knees don't hurt anymore. I'm like, oh, that's weird. That's so weird. It's like they're putting you in a, whatever.
They're a weird position. I don't mind the Nobles. I like to wear them for my workouts just because I feel like they're like pretty resilient. Like they don't break. At least the early models.
The early models
Yeah.
are. The new ones I got ripped right
They
up on the
ripped up.
rope.
Yeah. Yeah.
I feel like that was the one good thing about them is they had the like rubber like little nubs on them.
Yeah.
And they would grip really well.
They're just indestructible.
Yeah.
The early ones though.
But they're not like that anymore.
Yeah, that's what I heard. The quality went down recently.
And
hopefully Tom Brady can turn it around.
That's what I actually am like a little bit hopeful for them in that because like if anybody has an influence on it, it would be him.
Yeah.
Like, hey, these are actually not super comfortable and I feel worse when I wear them. So maybe we can change that or like put some money into like backing the science behind it.
Right. He's super into that stuff, so maybe we'll see.
Oh, absolutely.
We'll see how it turns out. So next question we got favorite CrossFit movement. So a movement you see in a workout competition, you're like, oh, I'm gonna smash that.
100% burpees.
Oh, really? I did not expect. I was gonna say, I'm like, all right, you pulled my leg. Right. I'm like, wait a second.
A clean,
not the barbell.
A
Like,
clean for sure.
right.
Yeah. No, I had that one like locked and loaded. I was like, he's gonna ask me that.
Yeah.
Burpees for
good.
sure.
That was a good answer. And then flip side, a movement you're trying to get better at right now.
As corny as it sounds, everything.
Yeah,
I'm always
sure.
trying to get better at everything,
Sure.
but Metcons, straight up classic CrossFit, right? That's what we're into right now because the Open's coming.
Yeah.
So
Yep.
that, and then like body weight movements.
Yeah.
Your burpees.
Yeah.
No matter how good you think you are at them, you can always be better.
Yeah.
And then the movements we see that like blow your back up, shuttle runs and deadlifts with handstand push-ups and
Totally.
that kind of stuff. But yeah, I'm doing a lot of engine work right
Yep.
now and just moving my body as best I can for 40 to 60 minutes.
Yeah.
So
Are you doing a lot of open prep stuff at this point? Yeah, because we're only like, well, this will take me a while to release, but we're only like 2 weeks away from the open. I think we are exactly 2 weeks. Yeah. Do you have like so are you gonna push hard this week and then kind of deload a little bit coming into it, or yeah, that's the plan.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
Very cool. What's your plan? Because I know I've had this discussion with different people because like the change in quarterfinals, like what's your plan for how? Do you have a different vision on like how you want to push yourself in the open versus quarterfinals?
Yeah, I think the Open is just
gotta get through it.
you just have to get through it. I used to always do them multiple times.
Yeah,
and beat myself up over like where I was ranked, and now I'm like, meh.
Gotta get through
I'm
it.
still qualifying. I'm still moving on. Especially they opened it up so much percentage wise.
Yeah.
It's like now not that I don't have to try.
Right, but you don't need to beat yourself.
You
up.
don't need to beat yourself up.
Yeah.
You just need to put forth one solid effort, and like as long as everything feels good, that's your effort, and you're done.
Nice.
There's no point in doing multiple attempts.
Because you want to stay somewhat fresh for quarterfinals.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. And
cool.
and leading into that, I like quarterfinals. I think it's a fun event, and I don't think it's never been too taxing or like feel like I can't recover from something that they've put in. Mm-hmm. I mean, they could always change that, but
sure, yeah.
I think it also incorporates more of the team stuff, so that takes some of the load off of you. I mean, I think the worst one last year was the dumbbell. Was that front squats with the handstand walking shuttle?
I didn't do it last year. This will be my first year doing it. Knock on wood if everything goes well.
It'll go well. It'll go well. I think that's what it was. It was like synchro front squats, and then it was like you all had to go down 50 feet and then back 50 feet or something like that.
Gotcha. Okay.
And I would always go like handstand walk. I'm good at handstand walking. I have the skill. I don't have the like high capacity endurance on that.
Sure.
So I get fatigued like crazy on stuff like that.
The wheels start falling off.
Oh man, it's like, and then they throw that 90-foot unbroken 90-foot back in the games. The last event. Did you see that?
No, I didn't.
Oh my god. So they got the new worm.
Okay.
The weird worm with the rope in between and the individual segments, and it's heavier.
Okay. Oh, God.
Okay. So you got that, which was like a whole thing on its own. And our only goal with that event was touch the worm. Like, let's get to the worm.
Yeah.
So we had the 90-foot out, unbroken, 90-foot back, unbroken.
That's a good distance.
That's the most I've ever done, I think, consecutively. Like, I've done high volume. I've done 500 feet, but it's always been broken up in 50-foot increments or 40-foot increments.
I'm trying to think, like, would the entire gym be 90 feet?
This gym?
Yeah.
50.
No way.
Yeah, I mean, wall to wall, more than that. Like, from here to the other side, more than that. But the lines we have established, like, right in front of the whiteboard, all the way to the other line
is 50.
Is 50.
So basically have to go down and back for one segment.
Yep.
Oh, God.
Without coming down. And the first one down was fine. And it was so funny because I was like, all right, I'm going to go last because I'm most likely to fall over.
Sure.
And I get over the line. And I'm like, I feel pretty good. And then Ethan's like, all right, who's ready to go? And I was like, no.
Yeah. I feel pretty good.
Wait, please. So I went last again, and because I could come down as long as we were all up before the halfway mark.
Sure.
They could keep going and I could come down.
Nice.
But
it's good strategy.
I got up. Went down. I was like 10 feet from the line, and I was like, I could feel my arms like falling off. I was like,
don't fall.
Yeah.
Because then if you miss a rep there and you make it that far, you're smoked.
It was anyone who failed that way back and had to go back did not make it across the line.
Yeah. Oh, I bet.
They were too gassed out. Even if you waited, it was
you get one shot.
A pretty good time cap too. So you had several minutes to work with. Sure. But it just completely destroyed your shoulders.
Yeah, because essentially if you're probably pushing to failure too if you're falling on that.
Yeah, and so it's always within that last, like, you anticipate that line.
Yeah,
and it's like, oh, I'm right there, and boom, you're down.
That's tough.
Yeah,
that's almost like, I guess, for most most across the population, like there's movements that you can blow up on, like push-ups. You cross that threshold, you're like, oh no, I don't know how many more push-ups I have the rest of the way.
Me every time I do Murph.
Yeah, you're like, oh, I think I blew up. I don't know how many more push-ups I have.
Yeah, I always got 2 in the tank.
Yeah,
2 good ones.
There you go. All right, so let's. Oh, one more rapid fire, which is fine. The rapid fires usually take a little while, but this is an interesting one. Current favorite pump up or gym song, like this week?
Oh man,
guilty pleasure.
there's so many. I feel like my playlist is always changing.
Okay.
And like what I listen to here is not what I listen to in my car. You know.
Sure. Yeah.
Oh, Johnny Dang. You know that song?
What is it?
Johnny Dang.
I feel like that sounds familiar.
Yeah.
Is it hip hop?
Yeah, it's I don't even know if the category. It's gonna be right at the top of my list probably. So terrible. That one is the Mexican OT.
Yes, I have heard that song.
Yeah.
That song's fire.
It's really good.
Yeah.
But it's like everything changes. Like sometimes I'm like old school. I love to do the throwbacks.
Yep. Little
and
Biggie.
those get me pumped up. Not even Britney Spears.
Oh shoot. Okay, we're switching genres here.
That's what
Britney Spears.
I'm all over the place.
Yeah.
Yeah. Classic rock.
Yeah. I was on a pretty big like I don't even know what you call it, like Alice in Chains. Like
all right.
Yeah. Is that alternative? I'm not even sure.
I feel like that's just rock.
Rock.
I feel like it's just
straight up rock.
Yeah.
Pure rock. Yeah.
Yeah.
I'll switch it up too. But I feel like I always go back to like Drake, Lil Baby. Those are my like big two in the gym.
Okay.
That's just.
I think there's a time
vibe.
during like longer workout. Well, I don't know.
Depends.
It really depends. The workouts will change what I want to listen to.
Yeah.
Heavy lifting. I always want like a good beat.
Yep.
But
something faster for Metcons.
Metcons always faster. Yeah. Gotta get that heart rate as high as possible.
Even before the workout.
Even before it starts. Out of control. All
right. So we kind of went over your lifts already. I had some more of these written down, but I'm just gonna quickly go through some of these. You had a big hang squat clean recently, 285. I saw on Instagram. Yeah. That's money.
That was good. Without a belt.
That's money.
Right? That was the one without a belt.
I think so.
That's what I was more impressed with. I was like, oh.
Yeah.
You see that?
You had a couple, so I definitely need to not miss this. I need to mention this. You won event 21.4.
Yes.
Did you like, going into that, did you have any idea like you were going to smoke everybody in that? Or did you like, that is so cool.
I had no idea. Honestly, the first part of that workout smoked me.
I forget what the first part was.
I don't remember the exact
I can look it up
layout, but it was like thrusters and pull-ups and then thrusters and bar muscle-ups and thrust. It was like a changing ladder before you go into the lift.
There was some, wait a second. And then the one before was deadlift, hang clean, jerk.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Which every time I see that, it's like 3 movements, and I'm like, what? I felt like it was 5. It was so heavy.
21.3 was front squats, toes to bar, thrusters, front squats, chest to bar, thrusters, front squats, muscle ups, thrusters.
Yeah.
Does that sound right?
I think that's it. Right. That was the first part.
So that's a lot of volume to do before
so much volume. And the first time I did it, I think I didn't really have a good plan, I guess, going into it. And it took me so long. So long. I just remember, and then being completely wasted when I went into the first attempt on the barbell. I was like, wow, okay, that wasn't as good as I wanted it to be.
Sure.
Went into it with a different plan and actually like way slower. Like,
sure.
Went on the clock and like tried to just conserve for the barbell. Conserve. And I ended up feeling so good at the end of it. I just like pushed the pace and beat my time by like 2 minutes or something like that.
Interesting.
Yeah. Which, goes to show. Don't blow your load.
Literally. Keep the foot off the gas pedal a little bit. Yeah. You can save some energy.
Exactly.
Which is so common to do in competition, in the open, for sure.
Always the open.
Everybody's guilty of it.
Always.
But there you go. If you start slow, you might be able to finish faster.
It works.
So and just for like people, because I have a lot of listeners who aren't in CrossFit as well, but like, so you won the workout like first, number 1 worldwide.
Correct.
Like you, that's a Tia Toomey.
Yeah.
Didn't beat you like
Danny Spiegel.
Yeah, which
Laura
is incredible.
Hovarth,
like number 1 in the world in that workout.
Yeah,
which is very cool. You also had a couple other. You had set a record for
the clean and jerk.
The clean and jerk.
At Granite Games.
Yes, that's what it was.
285? 265.
265.
Yeah.
Yep. At semifinals, Granite Games.
Yep.
Beating Amanda Barnhart's record.
Yep. That was actually like not expected whatsoever. I had really hurt my back going into that whole event. I forget what I did exactly. It'll come back to me later.
Yeah.
But I hurt my back, and I was like, all right, I just have to get through these things, and like we'll throw down and see what happens. And like that being one of the first events was probably to my benefit.
Sure.
I hit that. Then they had the sprint workout immediately after, I believe. It was like the sled push sprint.
Okay.
And then the third event was with Devil's Press. Devil's Press handstand walk? I think it was Devil's Press handstand walk.
That's a one to blow up your back.
Oh, sure. Yeah. So I finished. I did, nothing hurt. I felt really good. I hit the 265. I was like, the smile on my face in the picture that they have for that event was like legit. Just so, I was like in tears, so
You're
happy.
Like, no way. How did that go over my head?
I was so happy because I was like, I'm not going to be able to pick up 225 today, which is, on a normal day.
Yeah.
I'm just casually powering
Easy.
that.
Sure.
Even 265, like that's pretty close to just over my power. So
Okay.
it shouldn't have been
Should be
a
lights
reach.
out.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it just felt good. Everything was like the perfect setting, and it just went up, and I was just like.
That's so cool.
And then the sprint event was fine. The third event with the Devil's Press, I went to warm up for that event. And now this is like 15 minutes, 20 minutes after the first and second event. We're back to back.
Jeez, so not much time to recover.
Not much time. And I go to pick up 20-pound dumbbells. And I immediately, tears. It hurt so bad. And I was supposed to I think there was a heavier set of dumbbells for the Devil's Press and a lighter set. Like you had your two females and you could pick who was going to use what. And original plan was I was going to do the heavier Devil's Press. And my teammate, she stepped up because I could not move. I think I had to move 50s and I was 35s or I don't know. I don't remember the weights. It was like slightly lighter and she helped me out so big by doing that. That was the worst.
Heavy Devil's Press of 50s.
It was awful.
And that's a lot of strain on the back. Were there a lot more workouts after that, or was that towards the end of the competition?
That was just day one.
Oh shoot! Yeah, okay, you said that.
That was day one.
How'd you make out for the rest of it?
Good. I mean,
good. All right, nice.
We technically qualified.
There you go.
That was the year that.
What year was it?
2020.
2020. Okay, cool. Yep.
Or 2021. What was?
So you guys did well.
It was 2021.
Gotcha. Okay. Because you were with Ocean State 2017 as well.
Yep.
2022 you went with Milford.
Yep.
And then 2023 Rhino Dogs, and they're out of California.
Vegas.
Very cool. Who's on that team?
So that was Ethan, Britt, and Raph. Oh my gosh, names.
Names.
Now I'm like,
they're up there.
They're up there, and they're floating around. There's so much going on right now.
Very cool.
So yeah, that was actually, I forget how the intro happened. I was my management company, Mind Over Matter. They kind of hooked me up with Justin Kotler, and they had reached out to me like, what are your thoughts? Like, what do you want to do this season? And like, all right, well, cool. We'll see like what we got and what we can move forward with. And then Rafter ended up reaching out to me and with Ethan, and they're like, hey, we'll do team. Like, do you have another girl? My girl Britt from Connecticut, she wasn't doing anything. So I was like, I got someone. Let's throw down and like see how it goes. So we kind of just like flew out there on a whim, stayed out there for 2 weeks with Raf and Allie.
Sweet.
Scuds.
Yeah,
so literally like they did not know us. They let us into their home for 2 weeks and like just competed through the open, and
that's dope.
It went well, and
do you think you're gonna do the same thing? Do you have any idea what you're doing this year yet? Or
yeah.
You're doing the same thing?
No.
Oh, okay.
I am going to. So I traveled a lot in my career. So this year I am not traveling. I'm going to be out of Ocean State.
Nice. Yes. All right.
Very excited about that.
Is the team like solidified yet, or is?
Yep. It's going to be Ethan again. So Ethan Helbig, and then we have Josh Mattis. I always mess up his last name.
Yep.
And then Christine Best.
Hell yeah.
Yeah.
Let's go. Bring it back to Rhode Island.
Hell yeah.
Let's see if we can get it.
I'm very excited about that.
Yeah. So a couple other quick accolades we have here. So I want to talk a little bit about your competition with USAW at nationals, which was in 2022. Just from your Instagram, I saw you were actually, I don't know if this was your third lift, but you had powered your last snatch.
Oh,
was it your last one?
That was my second.
Oh,
first and second to last one. Okay. I tend to do that. So
at 194, which is 88 kilograms.
Yep.
Was that a PR power?
No.
Okay. All right.
No.
So you're being conservative with your attempts.
Because I'm not often on the platform and in that environment.
Yep.
I tend to be a little bit more conservative, and
you only
honestly,
get a few reps.
Exactly. Yeah. And my only goal when I compete in that platform is to move well.
Yeah.
So, because it's hard. You can do it in class. You can do those repetitions on your own when you have 1 million attempts.
Sure.
When you have 3, it is very easy to default to something that's easier for your body to maneuver. Yeah. So, like, power for me is easier.
Sure.
My power snatch and my squat snatch are 5 pounds different.
Wow.
So, yeah.
So you're like, might as well power it.
Exactly. Well, my brain's like, just get it up over your head, and like whatever happens, happens. And I was actually really happy with those attempts. Compared to my last, I think, where was I? American Open, I think was the last one. They were like fine, nothing was wrong with them, but they just didn't feel good, and like you hit and you're like, that was a good lift.
When you hit it really good, it feels light almost.
Yeah, like, it flies up and you're like, oh, hey, got it.
And some of them you just grind out, you're like, oh, I just barely made that happen.
Yeah, and I don't tend to get to that point. The jerk is always a hard position for me. Elbows, like I have like these weird
little hyperextension,
they're not double jointed, but they're like they rotate a lot, and it looks funny when I catch overhead.
Sure. Okay.
So like the judges always see that, so I have to be like extra cautious with my overhead position. And then the snatch, I just like terrible mobility in that position, I guess. Like it's not terrible, I have really good overhead squat, but like moving into that position like dynamically is hard. It's hard for me. Totally. And that's one thing I'm always working on is like, how do I get into this position better with all that weight?
Totally.
Because it's like up until like, I'd say 185 pounds, I'm like very consistent in that position. And then as soon as it gets a little bit heavier than that, I'm like, all right, let's power this. Let's just catch higher.
This is easy. Let's just do this.
Exactly.
It's funny because like they say your squat, like if you have good mobility, your squat snatch, your regular snatch should be heavier than your power snatch. But I mean, I know a ton of people who that's like just not the case.
Yeah. Thankfully it is now heavier technically. It's 5 pounds. It used to be the same.
It used to, okay.
For the longest time. I mean, and I'm talking way back. I can remember it was like 125, I think was all I could snatch. Either squat or power.
You got Nelly with you?
No.
Was Sam just walked in? What's up, Sam?
But yeah,
yeah, that's cool. And then I did want to ask you this, and because I personally think it's interesting because we don't see a lot of, and tell me if I'm wrong, but we don't see a lot of high level CrossFitters in the U.S. at least competing at a lot of the national level events.
No, not typically. I think.
I have a few theories, but I'm going to tell me if I'm completely off base. But if you sign up for that pool of nationals in like weightlifting, like you sign up for like the USAW, like the random drug testing, I'm sure like they've probably have they ever like knocked on your door or anything like that?
Random drug testing.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
That's I like this around that.
Yeah. They come after you.
I have been drug tested every time I've competed.
I bet. Yeah.
Randomly.
Totally. Yeah.
Even when I haven't made the podium.
Really?
Yeah. Yeah.
Do you think because they see you like as like a CrossFit athlete coming into it?
I could speculate. I honestly, initially, I was like, I'm older.
Okay. Yeah.
And I also understand that a CrossFitter looks different than a weightlifter. And I'm not a small CrossFitter by any means, but I am a smaller weightlifter for my weight category. So I look different that's my assumption that stands out to them as like, she's on something.
Get her.
Yeah, go get her.
I was just talking to I'm actually going to release the podcast later today with this guy Crisanto. Mm-hmm. He was training over at Providence Barbell Club for a while, but he's from Minnesota, and he's the same thing. Like he was youth national. I think he competed over at Uzbekistan for the Youth Worlds.
Very cool.
And he's the same thing. He gets like doors knocking all the time.
Yeah.
And he's got his brother, and his brother goes, "Oh, the P-Police are here."
Yeah.
They come in a cup.
That's so. So when I did nationals here, online, not even it must have been 4 minutes after the event was over, and they like turned off the stream. Knock, knock, knock on the door. And this is during COVID, mind you. So we thought it was the state.
Yeah.
And we were all like,
not following regulations.
We were all like, shh, nobody talk.
Put your mask on.
Nobody talk. Yeah. We're not in here. So we didn't answer the door.
Yeah. We don't care about masks. Just pee in this cup.
Yeah, literally. They literally said and then in 15 minutes, I got a call from my now husband, but he was like, hey, these people are here and they want you to pee in a cup. And I was like, what are you talking about? He's like, they said they wanted to the gym, but nobody answered. And I was like, oh, I'm still at the gym. So they came all the way back here. They did a blood test.
Wow.
They did a urine test. Yep.
That's intense.
Yep. And that was 2020. So what was I got third there.
Yep. Which is badass.
Maddie Rogers. I'm like, oh,
yeah, I was looking at it was Maddie Rogers, someone who was super high level. I just forget the name who it was. And then you were third.
Yeah.
And like I feel like that was a pretty competitive year because like all the typical barriers to entry of like travel, going there, like everybody just did it.
Yeah.
You know, people who wouldn't normally do a competition, they're like, oh, you would want to just set up the is it a projector or a camera or whatever, and like sure,
we had a laptop up right in front of the platform.
Yeah.
And so you could see who was going in front of you. We had to have like our designated area. We had to have like obviously kilogram plates, so we had to have the specific collars that they wanted, the ones they use in competition.
Yeah. Which are expensive.
Yep. And so thankfully we only had to buy those.
Yeah.
And then we had some friends donate to the cause of me competing.
Yeah, I think they're like $100 a piece. Those collars,
They're nice.
They were super nice. Yeah,
they look nice, and they got used that one time.
Yep, just collecting dust now.
Yeah, well, a little bit because they're a whole mechanism. You put them on, you have to twist, and then like crank the thing, and but it is what it is, And we made it work, and they showed up, and it was But yeah, every year I do a competition. They always, hey.
Are you doing one this year?
I did do one local, Westerly.
Oh, yep. Cool.
Which qualified me for nationals, but I haven't looked at the schedule for nationals. Sure. It has not been on a priority on my list this year. There's so much going on.
If you can fit it in.
100%.
Yeah, that's cool. You did well. You 6 for 6 in Westerly.
Yeah,
Awesome.
And that's that's where I started lifting.
In Westerly?
Yeah. So I got introduced. I was working at URI with women's basketball for a little while. And one of the, what is the name of it? The program. They have like the Army. The Army.
Oh, the ROTC?
ROTC program, thank you. And the guy, Whitmore, Ryan Whitmore, he was like, hey, if you're ever done with this CrossFit stuff, I could introduce you some real. I was like, all right, cool. So he had me come down. He was coaching there for a little while and introduced me to Jared, and that's where I got my official start.
Very cool.
Yeah, I had always done it because it was a part of CrossFit, but they were like, no.
It's a bit different.
This is what we're gonna do, and you're gonna only do these two movements, and I was doing that in conjunction with training for the games 2017. Sure. That was I hurt my back that year too. That was bad. Oh yeah. But yeah, that's so cool. I love going down there because it's very they run it really well.
They have a really good. I've never been down there, but from what I've heard, they have a really. I mean, Travis Cooper is kind of running the show down. It seems like, or he's a big part of it anyway.
He's a huge part of it. And he does a great job, and I just like to see everybody. They changed the whole gym around. They have so many platforms now. It's a big focus on Olympic lifting. So
that's cool.
It's really nice. Yeah.
That's awesome. A couple. Let's. All right. I'm gonna skip ahead a little bit. I kind of want to just get your brief story on.
Don't rush. I'm good.
You get time?
Yeah.
All right. Cool. We give 10 minutes.
No. Yeah. We're good.
All right. Sweet. I want to get into your story about how you just got into CrossFit in the first place, and you can go in depth as much as you want to this, and then how you got into athletic training.
Okay. CrossFit. Start with that. I was kind of backing up a little bit further.
Yeah.
I competed D1 track and field, Sacred Heart University.
Very cool.
So coming out of that,
what events?
I was a thrower. So I was originally recruited as a heptathlete, and then
heptathlete.
Yeah.
That's everything, right?
8 events. So they basically said, there's too much overlapping. You're better at throwing than like all of the events combined. So we're just going to have you focus on this. So they moved me into that, and my highlight was shot put because that was basically all we had at my high school. So I was like, all right, cool. Yeah. Ended up being my worst event. But I still did well. Like I was just very small for somebody as a thrower. Yeah. I was just talking to somebody about this. Yeah. I probably had anywhere between an 80 and 100-pound difference between me and any other girl on my team. Yeah. Which is fine. I was just faster. So like that was how I was able to keep up with that. So I'm getting a little off track.
That's all right.
But I threw discus, hammer, weight throw.
Nice.
Shot put. And I did javelin only when they needed me to because I hated it.
This was in at Sacred Heart. Mm-hmm. Is that in Connecticut?
Mm-hmm. Fairfield.
Gotcha. Because I was looking at this the other day. There's not very many schools that have javelin.
No.
I think it's like Rhode Island's one of them. Yep. I think.
We had it in Connecticut. In Connecticut. Where I grew up in Colchester, we had it in our high school. We didn't have hammer.
Gotcha. Okay.
And I'm sure they've changed rules. Obviously, I haven't been in high school in forever. I haven't been in college forever, but
fair.
They change things all the time with like safety protocols and stuff. Like Rhode Island was one of the only ones that did the hammer throw.
Okay.
With other states, I think maybe New York did it too. But
there's like a very I want to say less than 5.
Yeah.
For like javelin and hammer.
Really?
I could be wrong on that, but there's
probably too many accidents with people getting speared through the chest.
Could be. Yeah, that makes sense.
I would imagine.
Insurance claims might not be too happy about that.
Yeah, it's totally not worth it.
Let's not throw spears around.
You can't net a spear. Like you can net a hammer, you can net like a shot put or a discus, but a spear will just go through that. So like there's nothing to stop that from hitting somebody. Yeah. And people are just getting so much better at the sport now. Like think about where they usually put the jav throw. It's in the far corner, going towards the start line on a diagonal. So you have the full width of a field, of a soccer, football field, whatever. Yeah. But now they're throwing beyond that. So you're hitting people on the track. You know what I mean? Even then, like you would never expect it to go that far. Because the line's only, and then now people are just getting more proficient at it and getting stronger, and they have more access to everything online and training and recovery and like
people just getting better.
Things that we didn't have growing up. So naturally, we're bumping that out a little bit.
They need a bigger field.
100%. But then it's like money. Okay, cool. Yeah. Like, where do we throw? Let's just throw it in the woods. Go find it.
Wherever it goes. If you hit a tree, it's part of the game.
Yeah.
Accuracy.
Oh, we didn't have a track. I shouldn't say that. We had a track, but we didn't have a throwing facility, so we could never host meets at Sacred Heart. So every meet was an away meet, which was very taxing. But I was just telling somebody this story. We had the circle on the infield, right? So, and we had turf. Can't throw implements on the turf. You have to throw modified implements on the turf.
Sure, okay.
So they're like basically a med ball with a rope and a handle.
Huh, okay.
All right, so doing the hammer throw.
Yeah.
Launch it out there. Runner runs across the field. Okay, great. Well, this can't end well. Ball misses her. Handle whaps her right in the ankle.
Just takes her out.
She went down. Oh, she was fine.
Yeah. That must have been kind of funny in hindsight.
It was. I mean, I was laughing. Yeah. But like, that's the facility we were working with, and it was just like sprinters just casually jogging across the field where we're throwing implements, and like
sometimes people get hit.
Yeah. So we were not allowed to throw up there anymore, and
kind of ruined that.
Yeah, they sent us down to like Narnia, this grass field where we actually made our own quickcrete slab to throw off of. Okay. And we had this basically enormous endless field that we could just ruin because they didn't use it for anything. So.
Oh, nice. Perfect.
That's where we practice.
Very cool.
Yeah.
So all right, so you were a heptathlete, and then how did you get into CrossFit from there?
Right. See, I got off topic. You asked me what I threw, and then we got off topic. Okay.
That's all good.
So I got out of college, and I was like, I need something to do.
Yeah.
Because you go from doing track is a 2-month or a 2-season sport, but essentially it's 3 because you have to do your preseason and your postseason back to back.
Yeah, full time.
So it's full time, and you go from doing that training schedule where you're working out twice a day, and you have a meet every weekend, and then you go to nothing. It's like and they don't prepare you to leave and do nothing, and it's like, well, what do I do now? Like I had a coach telling me what to do every day for a workout, right? So, a Groupon came about.
Nice.
For CrossFit on-ramp when those were big. And and my buddy was like, I think you'd be really good at CrossFit. And I was like, intuition. Are you sure? Like I was really scared because the only thing I knew about CrossFit was wheatgrass shots, paleo, and like burpees.
That was what year was this ish?
2013.
Yeah, so that was early stages.
Yeah, and I had a kid in my program who did CrossFit, and he was not a good advocate for it for me at the time. Yeah. Now I understand
was he wearing,
where he was.
The toe finger shoes.
Yes, he was.
Yeah.
Yes,
he was. And those are starting to. I mean, not the toe finger, but I got the barefoot shoes
on
now.
I have those.
So we're kind of going full circle.
Yeah,
not quite toe fingers, but
those are better.
Yes,
way better. But he did that, and he would do burpees randomly, and he would actually do wheat shot grasses in our classes, and I was like, what is this? I would never do that.
Yeah.
You know, it was so weird. And then I went to my first class, and I was like, okay, like I got rhabdo in my first class.
No way.
Like undiagnosed, self-diagnosed.
Sure. Okay.
We did a Tabata.
Okay.
Did a Tabata, and it had air squats. I think it was like air squats and like sit-ups and one other thing we did, like Tabata style.
Yeah.
And I won.
There you go.
But I couldn't walk. Oh, I remember, like, you know, when the sign of rhabdo, right, is I just can't do one more rep. I can't move in the way I want to move. I know I can't do it.
Yeah.
I physically couldn't lift my own leg up to get into bed. I had to have my mom lift my leg up, and she was like, I don't think you're okay. I was like, I'll be fine.
Did you have the Coke-colored urine? No.
I did not. I don't recall it being a specific color, but it definitely wasn't brown enough for me to be worried. So it might have.
Hey, this is an issue.
It might have been, but
sure,
I don't recall it being like, whoa, that's a problem.
Yep.
But I remember because I was working with the Connecticut Sun at the time.
Okay.
I was doing an internship there for athletic training.
Yep.
And I remember like having a game that night, or not that night, that weekend, excuse me. And so it was like probably on a Wednesday that I took the class.
Yeah.
And then on Saturday I had a game. So I couldn't put my pants on. And then I had to like move around and like tape ankles and stretch people out. And I was like, don't touch my legs,
You're like,
please.
Somebody help me.
I was like, what happens if I actually have to help somebody today? Like, you know, thankfully I wasn't in charge of any of that. I was just helping out. And like, he would need me to do something. But I was like, man, this is going to be really, really painful if I have to help somebody. But I'm going to do it. It's going to be okay.
Yeah, if you get an injury, like how much does it hurt? You're like, okay, well, my pain's a little bit more than that, so you're on your own.
You're pretty good. Much. But so that was my first class experience, and I had like whatever, I think it was 10 on-ramp classes or 7 on-ramp classes, something like that. And then I got launched into it and fell in love with it.
Was it here?
It was not here. It was in Connecticut. So I grew up in Colchester.
Okay.
So we had a local gym there, and I was there for probably, I don't know, like a year and a half to 2 years, somewhere in that realm. Mm-hmm. And then one of my good friends from that gym started his own gym in East Hampton, Schedule 2 CrossFit, and that's where I started coaching. So
cool.
I waited. I had like the I don't even know what you would call it, but I just was like, I can't get my L1 yet. I need to like be in the sport for a little while and learn what it's about. And then I felt comfortable getting it, and I was like, everyone's just getting them. Like, here's a L1, here's an L1. Yeah. Like, sure. So I took my L1, started coaching, probably 2015, I think it was.
Cool.
And I've been coaching ever since.
Sweet.
So that was the start of that.
There we go.
Yeah.
And so you went from there, and then how did you end up here at Ocean State?
Okay, so traveled all around the world. No, I was really just like Connecticut and Rhode Island back and forth. So I was working in New Haven when I was coaching at that gym and the Edge Fitness.
Hey.
Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah, it was good times. So I was working, oh my gosh, from 5 a.m. at the Edge until noon, and then I went to the school from 1 until like 10 p.m. For athletic training.
Yep.
And I would coach on my like random days.
Athletic training, the hours are tough with that.
The worst.
They're tough.
No work-life balance whatsoever. The only benefit to that was like I knew I wasn't starting until they were done with school. So that was nice.
Yeah, sure.
But you didn't know how long you were staying.
Yeah.
Never. And that 10:30s, the 11s were always like football games and stuff like that.
Yeah,
so I had that crazy schedule, and then I ended up. My parents are from Rhode Island.
Okay.
I switched my job to New London, so the other side of 95, and I was commuting from their house in Rhode Island to, where was I? The Williams School for a little bit, and then I went to Mitchell College.
Okay.
So at those two places. And then I ended up moving to URI, which I kind of mentioned before.
Yes, yep.
So that's kind of how I got introduced to Ocean State because at the time I was traveling back and forth. I was driving right past CrossFit 401, which is like the OG. It doesn't exist anymore, but OG in South County.
Oh, okay.
So
was that on like a back road?
Yeah.
Yeah.
By the trains.
It wasn't called that wasn't the original location for Peacedale, was it? Maybe, I don't know.
Peacedale
I could be off.
was, I feel like they moved to where Peacedale was or something
okay.
like that. But they were like, you know where the train is when you're driving over the bridge to URI?
Yeah.
So if you took the right at that light before you go over the bridge, they're
Okay.
down that back road. So they're like parallel to the train tracks.
Interesting. Okay.
So that's where I started going in Rhode Island. And I had a few friends that were more competitive there. It was a very like mom pop gym. Like
totally.
they just like to hang out and drink and like chill. It was
cool?
Yeah, it was a good vibe. It was a good vibe. But my friends were like, "Oh, this place is more competitive. We should bring you up there." Got introduced to. This is when the gym was across the street over there.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so I got introduced to Ocean State, and that's why I started coming here.
Sweet.
On their grid team. So like not their grid team, but they had athletes going up to Norwood, Mass, to do grid.
Okay, cool.
Up there. Yeah. So
Very cool.
I know that was long. I don't know.
No,
I don't figure point.
Yeah, that was it. How'd you end up here?
That was it. That was it.
There we go. All right, so we'll start to wrap this up. Actually give me a brief 30-second. How'd you get into athletic training? Because I want to hear that too.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Okay. So by accident.
Okay. Yeah. It doesn't have to be 30 seconds. If you
No.
want to go longer than that,
The short of it is I went in to kinesiology, and that was like what I was like. Oh, this is what I'm gonna do.
Yeah.
And then my advisor put me in an AT 101 class. I took it. They were like, everyone has to apply for the program. I got in. They were like, oh, you should do this. And then my advisor just put me in all those classes. So I was like, I don't know what athletic training is. I didn't have one in high school because it wasn't a thing.
Fair, yeah.
And then I did love it, but it was totally by accident.
Cool.
And I actually did it for 10 years up until this past year. And then I took on the director position of programming here and being in coaching. So, yeah, that's how I got into that.
Do you one quick tangent on that? Last Open, Sam, Sam Pascal, that he's how I basically know you guys essentially because I trained with him at Spartan 360 RIP, but he tweaked his ankle. I think you know where I'm going with this. He tweaked his ankle last Open. He's like, Matt, can you please tape my ankle? I'm like, oh God, I have PTs don't really tape ankles.
Yeah.
I mean, I have in the past, but I don't really. I'm like,
Yeah.
shoot. So I have a YouTube video up. I'm get the tape out. I'm like, all right, I learned how to do this in class, but I'm not super. And he's like, yeah. Christine said you did a pretty good job. I think you said that. Maybe you were lying. Maybe you were lying to me.
I don't remember. It's so funny. I've had so many people ask me to tape their ankle randomly, and I don't even think about it anymore.
Yeah.
They made us bleed with tape. One of our projects was just to rip one roll of tape as small as possible.
Yeah.
And whoever gets the most pieces wins. I was
That's
bleeding. My fingertips were bleeding.
Oh my God.
I remember my first football practice. I had a Wilbercross High School, so there was over 100 kids on the team. Mm-hmm. First day, and I was like inner city, like this young girl who's like, "What the fuck did I just get into?"
Yeah.
And I walk in, they're like, "Can you take my ankle?" I was like, "Sure."
Yeah.
100 kids lined up. 100. I was like, I almost lost my mind.
No.
My fingers were bleeding, and the next day, I was like, I went up to the captain. I was like, tell me who needs their ankle taped.
Yeah, because everybody wants
weed
it.
them out. He's like, this one, and that one, and that's it. And I was like, are you kidding me?
Thank you.
Are you kidding me?
Everyone just wanted it. Oh, that seems cool. I want to get, because they probably never had it
they
before,
want
right?
their ankle spat. I was like, never doing that. Never. You will no one's getting that.
Yeah.
Ever.
Yeah.
Sorry.
There's only one of me.
No, not even that. Like, wait, I'm not trying to blow out your ACL. And
sure. Okay, yeah.
Also, we're on limited funds. I don't have that much tape.
Yeah.
And the spat tape is bigger.
Oh, okay. I wasn't familiar.
Yeah, so you get normal white athletic tape is like what, 1.5 inches, I think, or 2 inches, and then spat tape is 3 inches.
Gotcha.
Because it's such a waste, and you're just going around the outside of everything. So anyway, I don't want to get too off topic.
You're good. All right, just to be respectful of your time, we'll wrap it up here. But it's been awesome talking to you. It's been a great podcast.
You as well.
So just a few wrap-up questions that I usually have. Anything in store for the future that you're excited about? I'm sure like the Open and stuff like that.
Open,
but anything, yeah.
Getting together with my team, I'm excited about that and having them come up and stay and we can get some practices in. And
nice.
It's weird when they travel from other places, but I'm excited about that. And then this is another project for me that I'm super excited about and getting it like up and running and getting more people in the know about it and like
Yeah.
being a part of it. So
yeah, give me a quick plug on this, because this is the first time I've seen it in person too, and it's super cool with the sauna, the ice baths. Like, how can people sign up, I guess, like, to get in here?
So we on our Instagram we have a website too, but Instagram's easiest. Everyone's on that.
Yeah.
We have like a schedule link through Calendly. So if you want to do a specific time, you put that in. We see it. You can pay Zelle. We have our little scan code there. We have our website where you can pay online or cash.
Sweet.
So people can schedule that way. And then it's just hour blocks.
Nice.
And then we get it set up for you. It's pretty simple. And one of the concepts behind this was, our nice, friendly, clean place to do this up, because I haven't been in a sauna that's clean.
Fair. Yeah.
They're disgusting.
Yeah.
So
yeah,
I'm type A when it comes to cleaning.
That's good. That's good for a facility like this.
Yeah. So the chemicals we put into that, which are not harsh on the skin, the filters, and changing the water out very frequently. And I get in there, steam mop and scrub that thing all the time.
It looks brand new.
It is. Pretty much is.
Yeah.
But, people love it.
Yeah.
People are in here every single day. So
yeah, even just during this podcast, I think we had 2 or 3 people come in. So
yeah.
I don't know if there's anybody in there right now. No,
not right now. They're very respectful. I didn't even know they were in here.
Yeah, just came right by.
But that's the thing. And too, like, setting an environment and a tone for people to come and just, like, relax. We have people come in and, like, they'll sit in this chair and they'll turn on the little happy lamp, plug it. They got the boots.
Is that, like, UV?
It's not UV, but it's one of those. Yeah, it's a mood boosting lamp.
Cool. Okay.
And they do the boots and they just, like, chill.
That's good stuff.
Just a place to be away from other people and home, and
I like
little
it.
TLC.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
I will be back.
Hell yeah.
And then last question we got. So I don't know if you got down to this part of the outline, because I have all the bullet points, but a favorite quote. So the way I describe this is, so we're right off Highway 95.
Yeah.
So the big blue bug.
Okay.
Right around the S turn, the C turn.
Yeah.
Rob Levine's billboard is right there.
Yes.
You get his billboard for the day.
I'm familiar.
Yeah. So just put a picture in your mind, and the way is, like, you could put, like, whatever favorite quote, or like something you just want to tell your community or say your community, essentially.
I feel like there's so many things I would want to say, but like the most important one, and it's not a quote. I'm not good with memorizing quotes.
That's cool, yeah.
It's more just like about being a positive person.
Cool.
And how your attitude impacts others.
Yeah.
And just know that that's contagious, whether it's good or bad. So if you're going to have a negative attitude, you're going to make other people around you have a negative attitude.
Yeah.
So try and create a positive one.
Yep.
I couldn't say never, but I've never experienced someone actively trying to be positive in their life and with their, even on a bad day, and not have a good time in the gym, or in any life experience. Like, if you have a bad day and you come in with a negative attitude, your workout's going to be trash.
Yeah.
You're going to feel like trash. It doesn't hurt you to try to be positive.
Yeah.
And fake a smile. Even if you're having the worst day ever, somebody else is having a bad day too.
Sure.
And you could change that around for them.
Yeah.
And that's one of the hardest things. Like, I work on this daily.
Sure.
Because I come, like, it's a little bit of a joke, but I'm really bad on weekends. I'm just like, people are extra on weekends and I can't do it.
Yeah.
But like, I still come in, I try to have a smile on, and like, even though it's really hard, I know somebody else is having a worse day than me.
Sure. Yeah.
So I'm just trying to not be the person that makes them feel worse.
Yeah.
So
you could either make that person feel worse, or you make them feel better.
Exactly.
So might as well make them feel better.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. So I'm just I preach positivity. If I see someone shaking their head during a workout, I'm like, stop that.
Yeah.
Because you're telling yourself you can't do it.
Yeah.
And I know you can. And it turns you around, and it makes, like, I want someone to leave a workout or whatever situation they're in here in my presence and feel like, I'm happy I did that.
Yeah.
Because if you leave here and you don't feel like you did something worthwhile, then I didn't do my job.
Yeah, sure. 100%. I like that. Cool. All right. Well, we'll leave it off with that. Awesome podcast. Thank you so much for being on.
Of course.
Cool. Roadie Strength, we are signing off.